So someone recently asked about my plasma cutter setup, so I'm going to make a little video. So here is the actual plasma cutter itself. This is the plasma cutting table, 2 foot by 2 foot by Langmuir Systems. This is the Crossfire plasma cutter. And so this is a generic 50 amp cut 50L with low frequency blowback start. So I don't have to worry about any of the frequency issues or electromagnetic fuckery. And there's the control box down there, you can't really see it. And here is the computer that runs it. This is a Dell running Windows 10, and I'm also running Fusion 360. I got Fire Control open now. So back here behind the plasma cutter, if I go back into this little tight space, this is my air reservoir that I have pipe up to this splitter, which goes into other places in the shop. And I have a little filter that obviously needs to be changed. And this is what feeds into the back of the plasma cutter. So that's where I get my air supply. And I keep it at about, I don't know what, somewhere around 90 to 100 PSI. So this is the air compressor I run everything off of. I have it plumbed with a regulator here, and outside here I have a splitter, and these hoses go to various locations. One of them goes into the reservoir of my shop. So here is the actual cutter itself, and see if I can wangle this. I've solved a few problems by doing it this way and adding a shaft collar on to the end of it to hold this in place. So basically this sets on here and I put it in place with a clamp, and there it sits. And if it ever crashes for some reason, because that clamp will just pop the thing right off. I won't cause any damage to the carriage or anything because I have it set up this way just in case it actually does crash. But it's a pretty easy little hack in order to get your torch to stay seated in its proper place. On the subject of seated, down here, rather than the wheels, which I removed, I have it sitting on top of a couple of 6x6 timbers. The floor in this place is basically crappy tiles, and so in order to get it level, I took the wheels off of it and mounted it up on these timbers, also because I wanted to raise it 6 to 8 inches. It's just a more comfortable height for me. And even though I may not have the thing 100% perfect, it's pretty tight. So I don't know how well you can see it, but underneath here, underneath the table, is my dust collection system. I took apart and got the squirrel cage fan out of an old jet dust collection system, welded it together in a few spots so it's sitting there. And the intake is right underneath the grill in it. I didn't have any HVAC material, so I used some old metal roofing to create a conduit, and it goes right out to the wall. Tape this thing together with plumber's tape. And so that's my ventilation system. It's not as good as a water table, I know, but I haven't got around to making a water table yet. That's in the future. For now, though, most of the fumes get sucked out with that. Not perfect by any means, but nothing in this shop is perfect. It's, in many ways, it's kind of cobbled together. But it's fun and it works. for me. Another cool little thing that I hooked up is this Nintendo game controller that I have connected to fire control, and it's what allows me to move the carriage around and have various fun. Actually, it mostly works great for doing straight cuts is the primary thing, but it's kind of nice to be able to position it. I've programmed this so that the start button is the start program for fire control, and the B button switches back and forth between continuous and 1/16 inch movement at a time, and the A button is my stop button, the stop program button, kind of an emergency stop if I have to. So I love using this thing. It's nice to just, rather than having the hands on the keyboard all the time, moving it around, I can move the caddy around and do quick stuff with this. So it's pretty handy. And this is just a USB Nintendo controller that I got off of Amazon or something, and I just used a joystick mapping program to map it to the functions in fire control. So if I want to, I can hit start and it'll fire and it'll start the cutting program. It's pretty cool.